Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Jesus.
Martial arts chat.
My man B-Hop got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Ron. Let's hit me up.
I see you were filming this. You got a face for radio.
That's got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts.
Hello, welcome to Martial Arts Chat Podcast. On tonight's episode, we're reacting to last night's UFC 240. It's Edgar versus Holloway, and of course answering your fan questions as well. Before I introduce tonight's panel, just a quick shout out to the sponsors. A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. So local and national gyms in the UK, do yourselves a favour, check out a1fightgear.com. If you want to get in shape or get back in shape or just keep trimming the fat off, whatever your gimmick, go to bscare.co.uk, use coupon code MartialArtsChat and save 15% off your purchases for core sliders, straps, barbell pads, all sorts of strength and conditioning programs to suit your needs at all levels. We're also sponsored by Feel Supreme. FeelSupreme.co.uk offers CBD oil, natural nutrition, and they assist your progress in diet and lifestyle. They offer complimentary services such as yoga, mind coaching, and weight cutting programs. And finally, we're also sponsored by World of Martial Arts Television. Woma.tv produces, finds, acquires, commissions and presents all you ever wanted to know about martial arts. And so to our panel here this evening, representing MMA Huddle, it's Mr. Jon Ferguson. John, how you doing, sir?
I'm very well, gents. Nice to see you all. Hint, hint, over Skype, but yeah, good to be here.
Thanks, man. Always a pleasure, my friend. And a pleasure to have him on back from Newsome MMA. It's Mr. Kieran Cobley. Kieran, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, man, doing good. Obviously last night we had a pretty good card as well to talk about, so it's really good. Looking forward to breaking it down and also catching up with all of you lovely guys. So it's always nice to be getting right back on.
Good for joining us. And finally, just about everything in the MMA scene is this guy with MMA News. It's MMA Fight Bible for here at Martial Arts Chat. It's my man Cris Allen. Cris, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, really good, man. It's been a while since I've come to Roundtable. It's going to be weird being a guest and not asking all the questions.
It's good being the other side of the fence, isn't it? And I'm so glad you can join us, man. Thanks for jumping in, guys. Two things to look at before we get any fan questions, and those are the main and co-main event for UFC 240. So let's start with Cris Cyborg. Got a big old gash, as we said, on our heads, elbow earlier on, man. After her coaches, they sort of calmed her down right after the first round. They thought she was fighting on her emotions. She went on to convincingly outstrike Felicia Spencer. Did her best to put her away, but Spencer just showed how tough she was. Let's get the panel reaction. We'll start with John on this one. John, your thoughts on the co-main event and maybe what's next for Cyborg, sir?
I was surprised by how tough Felicia Spencer was. Very surprised. I think everyone was taken back by how much she was able to deal with. I thought Felicia did exactly what I said she was going to do when we did our breakdown. I thought she wants to get the clinch, she wants to get the fight down to the ground, but Cyborg is ridiculously strong, and it was not a 5-round fight, so it kind of suited Cyborg where she could do a 3-round fight of muscle depletion and should be okay. If it was a 5-round fight, I think Cyborg might have started to go in the third and fourth, maybe with the takedown attempts. But overall, I think for Cyborg, the main thing was just getting the win, because that allure that Cyborg had for years, that she was untouchable, she was a destroyer, that kind of got wiped out pretty quick when Nunes sparked her out. So it was nice to see Cyborg get that win again, especially on the last fight in the contract with the UFC, because now that she goes as a, in a way, free agent, if the UFC wanted to keep her, because she got the win, it helps her, because if she had lost, that knocks her value down again. So having that win's good for her. I'd just like to see her go back to Scott Coker. I think Scott will look after her better. Yeah. He'll promote her better, and Cyborg versus Bud, that'd be a great featherweight fight. I like the featherweight division in the Bellator card. It's great.
Yeah, man, it's a good shout with Scott Coker. You've got that Strikeforce connection as well, and yeah, she'll be well looked after. But we've not got a lot of Cris Cyborg left. I mean, 34. She's not going to be around forever, right? So Dana White isn't exactly the biggest fan. He makes that evidently clear. And we were speaking about it last week on the show. The purpose of signing Cyborg was, you still had Ronda Rousey on the roster, and now that's not there. It's almost like they just can't be doing with her. And when she gets sparked out by Nunes, man, I thought that was going to be the end of her. But we'll see, man. We'll see what it brings. Cris, how about you? Was this what you expected from Cyborg after this Nunes loss?
Yeah, man. I just want to say, is someone breathing really heavy down the mic?
I thought it was Darth Vader. I'm not sure, man.
I think someone's too excited, aren't they?
It's Cris Cyborg.
All I can hear is that someone's got a fan on rotate or something. Sorry, yeah, question. Sorry, yes. No, it was really good. To be honest with you, the Frankie Edgar fight, Max Holloway fight, was that what you're asking? The first two fights, yeah?
Just the Cyborg one for just now.
Oh, sorry, mate. Just Cyborg. Yeah, well, no, it wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest with you. But again, I didn't know much about her opponent, Felicia, at all. So I looked into her a bit, but there's not too much footage on her. And I saw her come in. She wasn't the most maybe ripped or toned woman we've seen come into the cage, like a fighter as much as such. So I thought it's a nice warm-up for Cyborg before she gets back in there with Nunes. But, well, there you go. Proved us wrong. I think she took more hits than Duhoy Choi's against Cub Swanson. Those sort of hits. She's acting like a Korean in there. All the hits she's taking to the face. And I was amazed the damage she took and still came fighting back. I think in the post-fight press conference, Cyborg said that that's the first time she's actually been cut in a fight as well.
Is that right? Well,
that's what she said in the press conference at the end, and that was a nasty cut.
Yeah, it was some gash. Aye.
And the post-fight press conference is all stitched up, obviously, and it just looked even nastier. It's like right in the middle, pretty much, as well. So, but yeah, Feb got the win, and Felicia did really well, and Dana White had lots of good things to say about her at the end of it as well, which was nice to hear. Says that at the end of the day, she took Cyborg for 3 rounds and took her bench literally over and over again. So, yeah, mate, not what I expected, but fair play to Cyborg. Contract's running out now. She hasn't got the best relationship with Dana White in the UFC, so it's next, mate.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got to concur. It's and kind of what John was saying as well. I think it might just be Bellator's on the cards, but we'll see, man. Crazier things have happened in this world of MMA. Kieran, how about you? Your thoughts, Cyborg and our victory here, mate?
I mean, we all want to see realistically for Cyborg to carry on the UFC. I think she had to knock out Spencer, and I think last night Spencer gave a really good account of herself. You know, it went to decision. There's not many fighters who've actually gone all the way, gone the distance with Cyborg. You know, she cut Cyborg as well. She gave a really good account of herself, and this wasn't the fight Cyborg needed. It wasn't the performance Cyborg needed to put herself back in contention to go fight Amanda Nunes again. So I'm just worried. I personally think that, I think you guys were right. I think she's going to have to leave the UFC now. I don't think there's much there for her now. The Nunes fight was obviously the way they wanted to go, and that's obviously not going to materialise, especially after their performance last night. But yeah, I think PFL might be a shout for somewhere to go as well, with their divisions. See if she could maybe make something over there with the tournament scene and the Grand Prix sort of scene. But yeah, I think her tenure with the UFC is done now. Someone
mentioned last week on the roundtable about her going over to Ryzen, and Gabby Garcia's name was mentioned as well. I don't know, what's your thoughts on that, Kieran? Do you see her maybe making a move over to Japan and joining that freak show?
I mean, I think it definitely suits. I think there'd be a lot more competition out of Japan for her, especially in the striking sort of elements. Someone like Ryzen, even one championship, they could, really match her up with some really tough opponents that maybe the more fans over here haven't really heard of. But I think she could be really pushed out, and especially in one. We saw that Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Johnson and Sage Northcutt have all gone out to one, and they all had really tough first fights out there because no one expected them to have that stacked roster. But I think the right move for now is to move away from the UFC, whether that be to Bellator, Rising, one, wherever. But I think she's done with the UFC, and I think that was the last fight in the contract as well.
That's right, yeah, man. I mean, it looks like there's a move on the cards for sure. But let's get to the main event, because, I love me some Blessed Era, and I've always loved the answer, Edgar, but a unanimous decision is how it went down. Frankie, desperate for those takedowns, man. Really struggled with Holloway striking as well. Had these moments maybe in the first round, but it was Holloway's all day long. Probably gets known now as the GOAT, and he's the best featherweight ever, and the rumour is it's Volkanovski next for him. Let's hear how the panel reacted. We'll start with Cris this time. Cris, your thoughts on the main event, sir?
I'll be savage when Volkanovski fights him. I can't wait for that.
Mate.
It's going to be so good. Yeah, no, I think no disrespect to Holloway, amazing performance as always, but I think that's how we all expected the fight to go. If you're a betting man, you would have put probably Holloway to win by decision, because we know it's not easy to put Edgar away. Edgar will just keep on coming in. I think he did well, Edgar, at the end of the day. All the head movement and dodging and weaving, it's just Holloway's just too bloody good, mate. That's the thing, and I know everyone keeps saying it. Everyone keeps talking about McGregor coming back and fighting Khabib and all this. I want to see him come back and rematch Holloway. You know, the way Holloway's fighting now, I'd love to see that sort of fight go down again. And anyway, I don't think Edgar should be like ashamed at all with his performance whatsoever. And at 37 years old, he's still going 5 rounds with one of the best, well, the best of all time potentially.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, kudos to the answer. Even no disgrace, let's say that, in that performance. Yeah, just a shining example of what we all expected. Kieran, how about you, man? Edgar, Holloway, everything you expected for this one, mate?
I mean, I think we all expected Holloway to come out with a win. I think we spoke on the podcast last week. There was only one guy that I actually thought Edgar was going to win.
Brian had wanted to see it. Yeah, the Rocky story. That's right.
yeah. I personally believe that Max has now sort of cemented himself as probably the best featherweight in history in the UFC. I mean, I think at the minute the division is in a point where there's only 3 credible fighters who could beat him. Volkanovski, possibly, probably the least likely of the 3. What's one of his name?
Ortega.
Sorry,
Zabit.
Zabit and
Rodriguez. Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez.
No.
Yeah, I think they're the only 3 guys who could beat him. I think we're in a real point now in the featherweight division where it's almost getting to the point where where the flyweight division was under Mighty Mouse, where they have to sort of start recycling the title fights and sort of bring back guys like Cejudo. And I think another thing the UFC really did was they shot themselves in the foot when they didn't sign Brendan Loughnane, because potentially he could have been a guy to beat him as well. But I think Max is at a point now where there's only 3 guys in that division I think that could possibly beat him. I think he beats one of them. And I think the other 2 push him the whole way. But yeah, it's a really interesting scene now in the UFC featherweight division. I'm really looking forward to seeing Max versus Volkanovski next, which I think should have been the fight to make in the first place. I personally believe that if it hadn't been for Volkanovski's health issues, he'd have been in that fight last night.
I know. I mean, no doubt. But probably you're right. A lot of people had said, I'd heard all that. A lot of people going, how does Edgar deserve it? But I mean, we're not in a deserved era anymore, and I guess I'm just being biased, but I'm such a fan of Frankie, man. I was like, well, how can you deny him? How can you deny him? Especially like you said, man. Volkanovski's out. Holloway's looking for a fight. Fuck it, man. Let's just make it happen and see if kind of what Brian was talking about last week, man. I was like, I want to see the old dog to it, but it was not to be, I guess. John, you didn't sound like you were too impressed with the calls for Yair Rodriguez there, but also just give me your thoughts on the fight and maybe what next for Holloway, mate.
Volkanovski is obviously probably lined up. I don't want to see it happen though in the Aussie card. That's only I know where Holloway spoke about getting medical tests, see how he is health wise. He cuts quite a bit down to 145. I think just over 2 months. It's not good for the body. It's not good for the brain, and also you want to see him develop anyway himself. You want to see him evolve as a fighter. So that doesn't give him time to maybe learn something new, obviously, or implement something. I'd like to maybe see him in the year-end card. I think he's got the superstar power to fit in the year-end card. The performance, kind of expected. Frankie didn't, I think he's got a 33% takedown success. And I kind of showed there. I thought Holloway did really well in his last fight with takedowns against Brian Ortega, and I thought Frankie would have a similar kind of difficult time with it. He just had no way of getting past that jab really that successfully. His punches weren't landing clean. They were landing. It was the end of Frankie's punches because Holloway was always moving out of the way. So it wasn't like the full force was really taken onto Max Holloway. And again, Max was in a similar situation with Cyborg, where Cyborg obviously got stopped, but Holloway, he got hit pretty hard against Dustin Poirier not that long ago. Right. So it was a kind of safe, secure fight for Max. He didn't have to bother doing too much. He just had to do the 5 rounds, pick them apart, and do what he needed to do. Matchup wise, though, Volkanovski, I think it'd be interesting if Volkanovski can keep that up for 5 rounds, because as much as they think they can implement their game, when Max Holloway puts his game plan on them, it kind of goes off the script. But yeah, the division, it's exciting anyway, but I'm looking forward to it. You might even see a Brian Ortega rematch in a couple of fights, because Ortega's, he's still around.
Yeah, still around, and I think kind of what Kieran was saying as well. You've got that Mighty Mouse thing, you know, Joe Benavidez. How many times was he back in the mix? And yeah, Ortega could certainly. I mean, he did get dismantled though, but with the way things are. That's very much a possibility for sure. Guys, it's time for my favourite part of the show, answering fan questions. Thank you everyone who got in touch on Facebook and Twitter tonight. I'll just remind the panel of the one rule we have on the podcast. Don't wait your tongue, guys. The floor is yours. So if we're ready, we'll start with Facebook this week. Quite a few came in from Facebook. Stephen Harris asks, do you think Dana should book a fight between BJ Penn and Megan O'Leary? That way BJ can go out on another loss. Fuck me.
I mean, if they book it, BJ's definitely going on a high into. I mean, anyone could want to go in the cage with Megan O'Leary, but I get the feeling it'd be a very different cage and a very different club.
Yeah.
I think Megan O'Leary will do him, you know, because she gets trained with Benavidez now. She's training with Benavidez every night now, you know. So now they're married and all that. So
have you guys seen the video I shared on Twitter the other day? It's from a scene. Someone's done the subtitles of a scene from sort of like war movie where Hitler's in his bunker talking to his general.
Is that the hit with Hitler? Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
What was it?
I think I shared it yesterday.
go on, elaborate. So, what was it?
It talks about like how they booked BJ for another fight, and
you need to watch Hitler's reaction. It's the best.
Send us this link. We're putting this out on Martial Arts Chat. Please
brilliant.
do, man. I want to see this. Let's see. Victor Vargas, my man, is asking, did Felicia's toughness make you more attracted to her like it did to me?
I've already got her on Facebook, so I'm all right.
Tough as nails though, man. She was like the shot she ate, and yeah, I mean, you seen her head snapping back, but you saw herself coming forward, some nice side kicks to the body and stuff. Didn't phase her, man. Well, didn't seem to phase her anyway.
Nice side kicks to the body.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, Cyborg though was hard. I reckon Cyborg there were some of the men and the lighter men, and
yeah, she does train with a lot of the guys. They say hi. That's right, man. Let's see. Matthew Penny is asking, with Cyborg's contract coming to an end, does the panel think she will re-sign with the UFC? If not, who would they like to see her fight elsewhere? I guess we kind of spoke about this earlier, but it looks like maybe one or with Scott Coker and Bellator, right?
I don't reckon she'll re-sign again. Like, only because I watched the post-fight press conference, and apparently she said stuff like things like she was scared to fight Amanda Nunes, and then apparently after the fight, Cyborg bumped into Dana White and just said to him, like, why are you lying? Why you said I was scared? And he apparently replied, well, everything I say to the press, it's just, you know, you got to go with it. And obviously she wasn't too happy about that. So she's really not happy with UFC and Dana White she was going on about. So unless they give her Amanda Nunes, which I don't know if they're going to do or not, then she's definitely moving on. And I think Japan's the place she's going to end up.
I think she's definitely got to move on, actually, because the UFC featherweight division is no longer a featherweight division. It is
no, it's never has been, really, has it?
Never had it.
It's 5 or 6 fighters. It's a handful of fighters. I think for a division, you need to have at least 15.
Aye.
And they only have like a third of that. So, if for the sake of their career, she needs to move on, I think.
And she kills herself losing that weight as well.
Brutal, man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she can do Bellator because they've got the relationship with Rizin, so they've got fighters that go over there. So I think it would work because they've got a 145 division in Bellator for her to go and be champ at, and then she could do the crossover like Caldwell did, and maybe go over to Rizin and do some one-off fights, big event fights, and I think that would suit her well, really, because I just think promotional wise from Bellator it works because she's a US citizen as well, and obviously then you'll have Rizin promoting her in such a way when she competes over there with the same cards as Gabby Garcia, with Gabby's excellent, unique striking.
Indeed.
She's 34, so she's probably got, 5 years, 6 years maybe?
Yeah, maybe, if she wants to. Depends how much money she's got.
Exactly, and how much of a will she has to do it. Yeah, in the right environment, she could do a couple of years for sure. Michelle Willis asks, what was up with Rogan's commentary last night? I don't know if it's because there wasn't 3 on the panel, but it just sounded like he couldn't be arsed. Also pushing the Cyborg was in trouble during that fight when she coasted to victory, let's be honest. I think he even said, I don't know if Cyborg can go a whole 5 rounds when it was a 3-round fight.
Well, I'll say, she went 5 rounds with Holly Holm.
Yeah, that's right.
She went and 3 rounds with Tonya, or whatever her name was. You know what I mean? So Yeah, Joe Rogan, he was giving Cyborg a bit of grief that night, saying, "Oh, she can't last more than 1 or 2 rounds. She's exhausted." Blah blah blah. But she looked pretty good to me for all 3 rounds.
I think with Felicia Spencer's, with the grappling side of things, how would Cyborg handle the 4th and 5th round with Felicia constantly going for that single leg takedown? Would she be able to because she was breathing heavy, she was tired. Grappling's horrible, especially against the cage. It's one of the worst, possibly the worst bit about grappling is against the cage. So she might have faded in the 4th and 5th, and Felicia might have got takedowns.
I think these sort of critics of Joe Rogan start coming out a bit more now that he's no longer working with Mike Goldberg. I think under Mike Goldberg, Joe Rogan was sort of his sort of flaws were sort of cushioned a bit. They weren't as visual as they are now, because he had sort of such an experienced guy with working with Mike Goldberg. Whereas now, where he's maybe working at 1 or 2 and he's expected to sort of lead the commentary team, people are paying a lot more attention to what he's actually saying on the mic. And I think maybe now's the right time for the UFC to start experimenting with different sort of commentary teams doing the bigger events, and maybe having someone like Dan Hardy and Dan Hardy when he does events.
Hardy and Gooden are brilliant. Yeah, they're a great combination. I don't know, man. I hated as much as I like to shit on Mike Goldberg. I did like the old that duo as well. I like them together. I like Rogan and Mike Goldberg was he was such the company straight man though, wasn't he? They loved getting a good sponsor shout out, even when there was fucking someone getting sparked on the floor. He's still telling you about Modelo and Bud Light and shit like that. But I mean, I don't know. I think for the prestige and the what am I trying to say, for the razzmatazz, if you like, you want a Bruce Buffer announcing it. You want a Joe Rogan on commentary. As much as it was fucking annoying me last night. I mean, there was a bit. I was watching the Cyborg fight where they sort of clash shins. They both threw a kick at the same time, and Rogan's giving big head kick, and I was like, there was no fucking big head kick, mate. I don't know what Canadian weed you're smoking, but none of that happened, man. I don't know. I think he was just phoning it in last night.
I love Rogan. I'm not saying anything. He's a legend, man. I love Rogan, man.
Well, he won't be doing he won't do the Oz card, will he? Because he won't be doing the Abu Dhabi card either. Because he does the US, doesn't he? In Canada,
he just stays at home now. That's right.
Yeah.
So much money out of his podcast now, as well as his. He does stand-up comedy still, doesn't he? As well. And,
yeah.
He's doing that.
It's just family as well, because he's got kids. It's a combination, isn't it? Because he just wanted to knock it down and focus on, like you say, his comedy and his podcast, and he went off hunting and all stuff like that. So he's got to the point now where he's 50 odd years old. He just wants to go and do what he wants to do with his money.
Get high and talk on podcasts. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
living the dream, Chris. You call that living the dream, man. That's it. Let's see. We've got Amin Shah here, who asks thoughts on Mean Hakeem last night. Devastating head kick knockout, but a struggle to make weight. Was it a struggle to make weight? I don't know.
I wasn't in the sauna with him. I don't know.
There you go.
Well, no, he had to grab the towel. He had the towel gate incident, didn't he? He had the DC towel.
Right.
Yeah. He put his hands on the towel again, which no one thought should you. In another commission, who was the girl who cut too much weight the other week? Looked like death.
Aspen Lad.
Yeah,
that's it. So what they make them do is they make them put their hands up, like you're putting your guard up and you're striking. You put your hands up in front of you.
Uh-huh.
That's what they should do, but with different commissions, obviously they don't keep the same rhythm. And this one they didn't. He just put his hands on the towel. The towel, you can see him putting pressure on the towel. He just went, "Yeah, you're 146 or whatever it is. Yeah, you're spot on, mate." And it was like, "Yeah, okay."
The Aspen Lad one, she sort of came like in a little box, didn't she? Like a little box with a hole in it, doesn't it? It wasn't a towel. It was like a special thing they've made.
It's like a tube. It's like a tube, like a cloak tube. You're like a magician. Like a magician pulls weight. They have them at Invicta FC weigh-ins as well. Not that I watch Invicta FCs all the time weigh-ins, but apparently they have them there as well.
Oh, I see. There you go then.
Fair enough. That's the best better way to do it, I guess.
They should do it for the men, but they only do it for the women. For the blokes, you just do a towel. It's weird.
Interesting. Miles Painter is asking who's next for Jeff Neal after that finish at UFC 240.
Oh, there's a fair few names for him, isn't there? There's some great fighters that you could have a bout with, like Lucas Neal. Luque. You've got who else in the welterweight division could you have him fight? There's a ton of dudes, isn't there? Fucking hell.
Is it top 10? Would you say? Is it time for top 10?
No, I don't think top 10. I think he's a potential, and I wouldn't want to waste him putting him in top 10 yet.
Sure.
I think it's too early for something like that for him. But he's a definite prospect, and he's one to look out for. I'd like to see him. I haven't thought about who he could fight up against.
Give him an old, give him like a Diego Sanchez or something. He likes going up to welterweight.
Yeah, him and Chiesa would be a good one.
Yeah, man. That's a good shout.
Or Kevin Lee, someone like that, maybe.
Darren Till.
Darren
Till should have been nowhere near
Till's up to middleweight, isn't he?
Nah, he needs to be. He should have been there a long time ago. I don't know what he's playing at, man. He should not be at welterweight. No longer should that guy be fighting at welterweight. Love me some Till, man. Don't get me wrong, but middleweight, I think. Let's have it right.
Yeah.
Kieran McNairn, a couple of questions he's got. So, first one, how badly do the UFC need Cris Cyborg? Second one is, does Holloway have any real competition left at 145? And the last one, be honest, did you watch the prelims last night?
They don't need. I tell you what, they do not need Cyborg, because there's no, like we said before, there's no 145 division. So you're keeping a fighter for a division that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like I get maybe for pay-per-view buys, that's why she's on there.
What about just doing Cyborg and Holloway? They're both 145. No.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
I reckon she'd do Holloway.
You heard it here.
I watched the prelims because you had Arajuo or Viviane Arajuo. She's a fun, exciting prospect. I thought Pantoja was going to do well, and he got outclassed by Figueiredo, which caught me off guard. Gillian Robertson as well.
Gillian Robertson smashed it, man.
Yeah,
she put a really good performance.
Surprised, absolutely shocked how well she did in that fight. I thought she was going to have a tougher battle, but yeah, there was a couple of fun fighters in that. Gavin Tucker surprised me as well. I thought Choi was going to do well. Well, he did do well in that fight, to be fair, and I think he's a good addition as well to the featherweights, that Choi lad.
Yeah, and the prelims were good, I thought. Prelims were really good.
Yeah, the prelims we had pretty good quality. You had some really good fights in there, some really good standout performances. Hakeem obviously had that head kick knockout. Gillian Robertson beat a fighter where she was expected to lose by submission in round one.
The Alexis Davis fight was quite brutal, to be fair. She got battered up a bit. Yeah, that Viviane Araújo, I can't pronounce her surname, but she was pretty knackered by the third round. But Davis just got lit up, mate. And to be fair, that's one worth watching. To be honest with you,
check that out for sure. Let's move on to the second half then. So it's Twitter questions. At Guybrush3Wood. That pay-per-view sucked. Max getting handled by Poirier just took all the excitement to watch him fight away. He's not happy.
Okay. I don't know what he was watching then, because I thought it was a really good performance from Holloway.
Don't impress me.
Let's be honest, Frankie Edgar, former champ, absolute nightmare and a terror. He's just... you've got to be smart against Frankie. Look at the UFC 200 fight against Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was just calm, counter-strike, and just picked Frankie apart. And you have to be smart against. You can't just rush in against Frankie. He's got good. If he does shoot him for the takedowns, he can get them on you if you overextend on him. And Max Holloway was very smart with his distance management.
Yeah, man. 1 out of 15. I'm just reading the stats here. Frankie Edgar on takedowns. Yeah. 1 out of 15. And then how can you say it's a boring fight? I'm just looking here. Significant strikes. Holloway landed 129 significant strikes, and Edgar landed 96. It's a boring fight, I wouldn't say.
I think, it's changing a wee bit now, I suppose, with the pay-per-view thing in the UK, but when I see a lot of these, it's usually from someone who's in the States, and when they say that pay-per-view sucked, I feel for them, man, because they've just paid $60. They're paying $60 every time, do you know what I mean? And it's like, if you
want knockout.
Yeah, of course, man, that's what it is.
But then again, if you look at boxing, a lot of them goes decisions as well, so it's combat sports. It's not always going to be knockouts. I know that I understand the pay-per-view. To be fair, I would have paid $60 for that. You've got no chance. Get bent. There's no way I'd pay $60 for that main card. It was not a pay-per-view main card. That
and also
I saw someone on Twitter. They put essentially it was a UFC Fight Night card, but just with a UFC pay-per-view main event essentially. I'd have to agree with that. I think now you could even argue that's probably actually a Fight Night main event, because we're seeing now that the women's titles now they're going to be on Fight Night events. Shevchenko's fight.
That's right.
The Chinese one. So,
what's your thoughts on the old BT? Because I think Kieran, you was telling me the prices have actually went up just for BT alone, right?
Yeah, the price, I think they went about something like £4 or £5 a month or something. But then they've announced this week that Khabib, the UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi, that's going to be on box office. But I think the numbers will be better this time because it's not on it shouldn't be on a stupid o'clock in the morning if they're doing it sort of similar to F1 run races over there,
right?
Where they start in like sort of twilight, so like 5, they start over here about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, because it's got to be temperature-wise as well. Imagine you'd have to
I see
the humidity and stuff over there.
Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah, I'll be streaming it anyway, so I don't.
I tell you what though, if they're paying £60 for that, like you think of it this way, like we paid £20 for the John Jones, and in for them that's what, like $27-30 or something. You know what I mean? And that's for John Jones. There was Ben Askren, Masvidal card thing. You know what I mean? So.
Aye.
If anything, I know we all said we're not going to pay for it and all that stuff, but I'm not going to lie, I did pay for it and I did record it, so hands in the air for that one.
I mean, fair play. Like we had Brian Lacey on the show last week. Obviously, he does some work for BT, and he was cluing me up like it was who was it had the contract? Like, it was this 11 Sports or whatever it was.
Yeah, 11 Sports.
And then when they dropped it, sort of BT had to. Well, they had to just pick it up, and the deal was that it's now. He said it was at least 2 live pay-per-views a year. I thought it was 4. That was a rumor I had. It was going to be 4 a year. So if they've done Jones and they're doing Khabib coming up, then that's it for pay-per-views. That's your 2, right?
Yeah, unless they're going to do the end of year card.
Yeah, I heard 4 as well.
Who knows?
I heard it was 4. I heard it was 4 pay-per-views, but I don't. They can do 12 if they want. They can do as many as they want. I'm still not paying. I'm streaming. I don't lose any sleep over it either. They could come and knock on my door. I'd be like, come and watch with me if you want. I don't care.
Aye, I think.
I will stand for BT a bit here because they have announced that this week that Cage Warriors will be back on there for that Unplugged 2 card that they're doing in September.
Yeah, live.
So I'm looking forward to that.
What's with the title Unplugged though? We were joking about that a couple of weeks ago. Unplugged just makes it sound like kind of MTV acoustic set. Why is it Unplugged?
Yeah, it's a weird name, but it's just what it is.
Called Unplugged because it's invite only or something like that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's 1,000 seats or something. It's invite only, so good luck getting press credentials, everyone.
We'll try it.
That's all we ever do is try. Let's see. A guy, we got him at Little Lawless. Thoughts on Jon Jones, Corey Anderson beef at the autograph signing?
Like as we said earlier, it's just Corey Anderson trying to get himself a fight. He hasn't had a fight. You know what I mean? He hasn't been doing them amazingly. Jones is a paycheck, isn't it? At the end of the day.
What was Corey Anderson's last fight? Was it Santos?
Oh, I can't remember. Let me have a look.
Thiago Santos, I want to say. I'm not sure. Yeah, I didn't see this either. I just saw the question coming in, but I guess it's out there. There's some kind of, I don't know, Corey's calling Jon Jones out or whatever. But I mean, to me it sounds like he's looking for a fight.
You got to remember who his manager is as well. It's that terrorist.
Is it your friend? Right, there you go. John loves this guy.
Corey Anderson, Latifi decision. So beating Latifi gets you a title fight apparently.
Oh, there you go.
Beat Glover by decision, and then Patrick Cummins. So Patrick Cummins, Teixeira, and Latifi.
To be fair, he's had 3 fights. He's on a 3-fight win streak. I didn't realise that.
But I don't get super excited about it because Corey Anderson, he's a good fighter. I don't think he's a great. I don't think he's a title fighter. I don't think he's title potential.
No.
If I'm honest with you, I think Corey might get Johnny Walker next.
Oh, come on, give me some Johnny Walker. See, that's the thing, though. Yeah, I would like to see that. Corey Anderson, Johnny Walker's a good shout. But, I mean, Jon Jones, you've got to do something with him before the end of the year. I mean, if the
I want to see him fight. I want to see Jon Jones fight Johnny Walker, man. That's what I want to see.
Is it not too soon? Is it not too soon for that, though? I mean, I want to see it, don't get me wrong, but...
I don't think they'll do that yet. I think it's
fights
too early.
I spoke to Johnny. I ran into him at Bellator in London last time. I spoke to her. I said, what are we when we're getting, you versus Jones or you versus Rakic, and I think he's targeting Anderson at the minute. I think that's what he said. But I've got to say, I think Jon Jones needs to focus less on Corey Anderson and more on not hitting strip club employees.
So
I saw Brendan Shaw try to stick up for him by saying her name was Cinnamon. I'm like, Brendan Shaw, shut the fuck up, man.
Name was Cinnamon.
So fucking appalling to watch.
Yeah, don't even listen to Brendan Shaw. I blocked him already on social media.
He's blocked him.
He's just a waste.
You're not a fan of his stand-up, John? No.
No, well, Yeah, stand up. Yeah, he usually lands on his back, doesn't he? So that doesn't
There
really
you
go
go.
well.
There you go. Toes curled as well here.
I don't know. Maybe like title fight for Jon Jones next. Who do you like? It's tough because Anthony Smith, you can't do that again.
No, you can't.
Reyes is going to absolutely starch Chris Weidman, so that'll probably get Reyes the next stab. Jan Blachowicz is who I've said it for a bit. I thought Jan Blachowicz will probably get him. I'd give him a shot, only because he's on a bit of a streak.
Exactly.
He's doing pretty well, and I know he lost at Santos, but Santos just fought for the title, but he absolutely murked Rockhold. Krylov is a badass dude that he beat as well before that, and then he beat Jimmy Manuwa. So, and I'd probably go Blachowicz maybe. I would do
probably
Johnny
a good
Walker
shout. Aye. You could package that pretty well. Do you think you could do that at Madison Square Garden? That's always been the thing for me. Get Jon Jones in New York. It might do big.
Yeah, you could. 100%. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think. They might actually hold Jon Jones out. Wait to see what happens with Stipe and Cormier. They might hold that one out for Jon Jones and then do that.
I said that as well, Chris, but I don't see Jones doing heavyweight, and I can't see DC getting down to light heavyweight anymore.
No, he's not going down again.
No, he'd have to go up. Jones would have to go up, if anything.
I don't think there's any point now in seeing that trilogy end as well, because Jon Jones, I know there was
he won twice.
Testing positive and stuff for PEDs, but you can't. PEDs don't account for fight IQ, and that's what Jon Jones has used to beat DC both times.
Yeah, man. He used loads of cocaine as well to beat Daniel Cormier as well.
Yeah. It's a wicked combination, coke and fight IQ.
I just love that press conference where he said,
it's a wicked combination.
It's when he said to Cormier at the press conferences, I was on cocaine all the weekend before and I still kicked your ass.
That's hilarious, man. As much as I'm not a fan of Jon Jones, I did have a good laugh at that one. That was fucking hilarious. Let's move on. We've got elsewhere else. Did anyone see Nico Price raise his hand like he won after getting sparked out by Neil? What next for Hands of Steel?
I thought he was knocked out, the old hands in the air when you're knocked out. The hands go stiff. That's what I thought was going on.
Who do you want to see next then for Hands of Steel then, I guess?
I think someone said about Uriah Hall. That being
is he still around?
Fight, running that back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Uriah Hall.
Yeah, Uriah Hall's still about, yeah.
Remember Weidman? Oh no, Weidman's not doing middleweight anymore.
No.
He was always good for a laugh. Jackery, there you go. That's who's next for him.
Ooh.
Anyway, at Makey88 boy, should Frankie Edgar hang up the gloves?
Well,
it's a hard one.
Can he get to 135? That is he should have went there maybe about three years ago, but I wonder if he can make 135.
Yeah, man, that would be good. See, if he's going to do anything with his career, maybe go down, have one fight there, then fight Cejudo. But you know what he's like. He got the Holloway fight, so there's no saying he wouldn't get the Cejudo fight pretty much straight away.
There's also the thing he doesn't train with Marlon Moraes as well, who's 135. So if that happens, are they willing to share the same jinx to be a fight in the same division? That's
I think Moraes is next in line as well. I think actually to Cejudo.
Yeah. I'd like to see Frankie try to do 135. He doesn't have to retire, because I know what you mean. It's like he won't get another shot at 145. He can't do 155. He'll get absolutely murked up there. But I think maybe if he can try 135, why not? Give it a go for a bit of fun.
Faber for the fourth time. That'd be interesting.
Oh, fuck. Aye.
That's the thing, you've got to remember, what's it? Frankie Edgar, he beat Uriah Faber 3 times. Who else did he beat 3 times? BJ Penn 3 times. You know what I mean? It's a serious fight. I reckon, if he goes down, I reckon he have a good chance. But as you said, Kieran, Marlon Moraes down there, if he does beat Cejudo, whatever, want to fight his teammate. That's the other thing.
I don't know. I don't want to see him hang it up, but I mean, he is 37. I mean, there's got to be if there is, it's got to be 1, maybe 2 fights left. So whatever fight he's going to have, it's got to be big news, I guess. 35, if he can make it, man, I'm in, guys. But it's got to be tough, especially when you're pushing 40, man. Last one then before we wrap up. Samuel Sweeney's asking, so now with the current title holders and interim holders, where do we see the champs this time next year? All weights, females and males. Man, that's fucking hard.
God, should we start? So let me get the old man.
So where do we go?
Heavyweight.
Heavyweight, okay.
Daniel.
DC?
Stipe.
Stipe.
No,
Ngannou.
And Stipe versus Ngannou. Stipe versus Ngannou for the title, number 2, because I think DC will beat Stipe again. But Stipe will get back in there.
By the end of the year, I reckon Cormier was the champion, but he's retired because he beat Stipe.
John Jones fails another drugs test, gets stripped of the title, comes back, wins the title. That's how that light heavyweight division goes.
Yeah. Don't think there's really any arguments about that one.
Middleweight,
Whittaker.
Yeah, I think Whittaker takes it still.
You don't see Adesanya taking it now? Oh, I don't know, man. I think Adesanya might have him. If he doesn't, it'll be the only thing that's beaten Robert Whittaker is his own knees. I mean, it's just injuries. Welterweight. Oh man, I don't know. Masvidal. Is it cheeky?
Yeah,
to say?
that's a good shout. Yeah, Masvidal. I'm going to say Edwards just to keep it, there you go. British.
Home rule.
I've got to say, I think Leon Edwards is a really good shout. I think he's on a tear at the minute through the division. He's obviously just jumped to number 4 as well, so he's well within his right. I think Cris is well within his right there to suggest Edwards. And I think I'm going to back him too.
Lightweights Khabib. Oh no, sorry, you go, John.
Yeah, I was going to say Usman. He's a nightmare. He's such a nightmare to fight, and I think he's just a dominating man. But I'll go Usman.
Fair play, man. I mean, Khabib's obviously going to be there for lightweight. Do we see Conor McGregor coming back at any point?
Well, even if he does, he's going to get beaten up by Khabib again.
It's going to be the same story, isn't it? Exactly.
Everyone will get beaten up by Khabib.
I think Khabib's going to be the champion of the lightweight division for a couple more years yet.
As long as he wants to be, really, isn't it? It's just,
exactly. Featherweight Holloway. I mean, I don't see anything else, but maybe Volkanovski. Well, it's going to be a tasty fight, but if he gets past him, I don't see anyone.
No,
I think they beat Magomed Sharipov, but it depends on how fast he can climb the rankings.
Yeah, but I
I'm not sure. I think he's still 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot yet, so it all depends on that.
He is, he's a couple away. Cejudo then, bantamweight. I mean, Frankie Edgar. Peter Yan is a great shout, man. What a fighter. Peter Yan. Could be.
Aljamain Sterling as well, of course. He can be thrown in that conversation.
No, I reckon Cejudo keeps it. I reckon he's solid.
I think Cejudo keeps it. I think we've seen Nathaniel Wood and Jack Shaw tear through that division, get into the top 5.
Man.
There you go, man.
And that's when we start thinking about having another British champion.
Jack Shaw's a fucking legend. Flyweight. I mean, is there even going to be a division? That's what I was
going to say.
Don't know.
Extinct, maybe, but who have you got? Formega, look at Pantoja, Figueredo. Yes, there's not many, is there?
Benavidez, that's it. Into again, small division.
And the problem is, a lot of these guys are quite young. As they get older, they're going to get bigger naturally, and it's going to be harder and harder for them to cut the weight.
Yeah.
And it's just a very tough weight class, isn't it, to fill?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Let's move on to the ladies. So, a featherweight, same story as flyweight. As far as I'm concerned, there is no featherweight division. Cyborg goes, and I think that's that, really. Bantamweight?
Nunez.
Nunez.
I mean, who else is there for her to fight, really?
Randomly? Well, that's...
when she can be arsed.
Yeah. Looking through the list now, and I'm thinking... I don't know. It's an interesting one. We'll have to see what happens in the year with all the other, a few of the up and comers that have joined the division not too long ago, and see what happens with it, because there is a few interesting ones up and coming. Like Aspen Ladd was unfortunate. It would have been nice to see her do something a little bit better, because I was expecting. Obviously, a lot of people said it was stopped prematurely, but I've watched it so many times over and over again. And I think, you know what, on a split decision there, she had her hands on the floor, getting punched in the face. She didn't put her hands up to protect herself, so it is what it is, sort of thing.
No, it is, but she's got that battle with the weight. She needs to. I was more convinced last week. She needs to just conduct herself in a better manner. She needs to be more professional about and take it seriously, this weight cutting thing. I mean, it was all brutal. Don't get me wrong when we saw her on the scales, but having sat back and thought about it a wee bit more, she needs to say to herself, like we were saying in the podcast last week, is a weight cut the week of, or is a weight cut the whole 2-month camp or whatever? I think that's the conversation she needs to have with herself for Aspen Ladd.
Yeah, man.
And Macy is a good one as well. She's in the top 50. Macy Chiasson. She's a potential. She hits hard. She's a good one for the future as well.
Yeah, and even that Yano Kuniskaya, I can never say.
Yeah, Kuniskaya.
She's serious as well. That's what I mean. There's some good ones coming through. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops, to be honest with you, this division.
125 women's division. Joanne Calderwood just tears through everybody and takes the title back to Scotland. Thank you.
I think it's Shevchenko's in the same instance as
it's got to be.
Khabib. I think she's going to be in charge of that division for a while yet, and it's all
same.
I like that Caitlin though. Caitlin Shukazian or whatever her name is.
No, she's just like a tennis player, isn't she? She all shouting as shots. I can't
Holly Holm does that as well, right?
She does my nothing.
What is that? Is that a karate thing or something? What the hell is that?
It's annoying is what it is.
It's the Williams sister grunt, as they call it.
That's it. And then we've got 115 then, I guess, for the women, for the ladies.
Tatiana Suarez.
That's what I was going to say.
Is she on the juice? That's the rumour.
I don't care what she's on. She's an absolute monster.
She's terrifying, man.
Jessica Andrade, though, it's 115. She is. She's on a tear.
She is a beast. But I just think Tatiana's that wrestling, just superior grappling.
Yeah, I was talking to who was I talking to? Kate Jackson. She fought her in the Tough House, I'm sure. Tatiana Suarez, and like Kate's an outstanding grappler in her own right, more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but she was just like she was saying, man, like the grappling of that girl, how strong, how powerful she was, just on another level, absolute another level, man, something else.
But don't count Rose out though. You know, she made a mistake by holding on to that submission. Like she was winning that fight up until Andrade smashed her on her head because wasn't she holding onto an armbar or something like that?
I saw that. The Kimura.
She got dropped on her head, and if she didn't do that, she was lit. Andrade was lit up, you know, before that a lot. The boxing of Namajunas was unreal before that moment.
That's true, man. A lot of people forget that. She was catching her. She was getting on the end of her shots. But I mean, that's why we love MMA. It can. I was going to say it can turn a six-pin on your head, but she got spiked on her head, and that's how that one went down. Anyway, guys, there you have it. It's UFC 240 in the books. We've got some great cards coming up for the round table, so stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the next round table. But thank you so much for everyone for hitting us up with your questions and your comments. And a thank you to the panel here, to our man Chris Allen. He's got a fair few interviews this week. We've got Jeremy Lesniak of West Quick Radio, amongst others, will be out this week. Chris, let everyone know all the great work you do and how to follow all that work online, sir.
All right, man, I'll try and be quick. Obviously, follow my one-on-one interviews on Martial Arts Chat podcast, where we are right now. There's loads coming out, as John just said. We've had a few come out recently, all the way from Terry Brazier, Nathan Rose, and special guests as Justin Lesniak. So, yeah, check it out. Also, check out my Twitter page at Chris Allen MMA, where I post a lot of all my videos, interviews with fighters, and podcasts I also do with John as well. Go over to my MMAnews.com. It's where it's the guys who are great enough to get me press passes to a lot of the Bellator and Cage Warriors events. Check out all my backstage post-fight interviews and a few pre-fight interviews as well. What am I forgetting? Oh yeah, my own page, MMA Fight Bible on Facebook. That was like my thing I started off originally until John invited me onto a podcast. So yeah, please like and follow that as well. Instagram, Chris Allen MMA, and there, John. I think that's it.
Top man, he's a busy lad, but yeah, check out his work. He does some great stuff.
Sorry, and MMA Power Hour every Wednesday. I'll do a 10-minute news correspondence show as well.
That's great stuff, man. Awesome. Massive thank you to Kieran Cobley. Kieran, tell our listeners all about Newsome MMA and where to follow you guys online.
Yeah, cheers for having me on again, man. So if you follow Newsome MMA on Twitter, that is at Newsome_MMA on Twitter. We also have the YouTube channel Newsome MMA, where we have the weekly podcast for all the UFC cards, where John and Adam, they go through the card and break it down and look through the card. You can also follow John and Adam, who I work with Newsome MMA on Twitter as well, at MMA and me, and at Newsome MMA. Again, make sure to go and check out the interviews. We've got one coming up tonight, actually, about 10 minutes after this goes out, with Mo Zubair. I went down to Wakefield the other day to interview him. Nice. That's coming out soon. So yeah, make sure to tune in for all that, and hopefully we'll have some more more backstage interviews from events and stuff coming out soon as well in the coming months.
Superb, man. And finally, a big thank you to John Ferguson. John, always a pleasure, big man. Let Martial Arts Chat listeners know all about MMA Huddle and what you guys have got coming up.
We're just doing the usual, doing the breakdowns. I will get my backside into more interviews again. I've just been tied up with my actual full-time job, so it's a pain in the rectum, so I don't have time to do MMA interviews. So just kind of takes your life, doesn't it? But yeah, just MMA Huddle, all social media platforms. YouTube is where we are with our videos and stuff like that, so feel free to subscribe. But yeah, thanks for having us on, and it's been great as always, guys.
Thank you so much. And if you've liked this podcast, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or all the platforms. Live every Sunday, 8:30pm-ish, talking MMA. Go to facebook.com/martial arts chat and give us a wee like there. Or if you want, follow me on Twitter, it's @martial arts chat. I'm Jon R McElroy, and I'll catch you next time on the Roundtable.
As he turned the corner, it hit him. A smell so sweet, orchestral masterpieces could be composed about it. But what could it be? He had to find out. So with his nose leading the way, he wandered towards the paradise. He turned a corner and stopped. What lay before him was the most beautiful sight he could ever have imagined. A new bakery. And to think, he'd never have come across it had he taken the car. Walk, cycle, discover. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Hello, I'm Owen Blackhurst, and I'm here to tell you about Giant. Football stories that matter, told to you by the people who were there. For this 6-episode series, we tell you the stories of Ronaldo at PSV Eindhoven, 7 magnificent players from the women's game, the birth of Major League Soccer, the rise and rise of AFC Wimbledon, Arsenal and Manchester United's decade-long rivalry, and Nigeria's Olympic Immortals. A Spotify original in association with Mundial. Available now, only on Spotify.